Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been showing that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a buddies network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are chemo buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
Welcome back to Pursuing Profit with Principles. I'm your host, Regina Bergman, and I am delighted today to bring you a very special guest. I have known this lady for at least a couple of years now. 2 years, yeah. She's better at math than me, or better at remembering. Anyway, we met through a mutual friend, and I have just been so impressed with her. My guest today is Reginas Journey, and I'm going to welcome her, and then I'm going to read you her bio. So welcome to the show, Reginas.
Thank you, Regina. Thank you for hosting me. It's such an honor, and anything you ask me to do, I will do that. You know this.
I do know this. She's awesome. So folks, I'm sure you noticed she has a little bit of a different accent than I do. So let me tell you why she has a bit of a different accent. And I don't normally read people's bios on my shows, but there's so much good stuff in hers that I really wanted to share with you before we dive into some conversation about the amazing work that she is doing. So Reginas was born and raised in Russia. She is a master of sports and trained with the Olympic Reserve cross-country skiing team. I have to share that with my husband today, Reginas, because he is glued to the Olympics right now. She is a graduate of the Academy of Trade in St. Petersburg. She started her career managing retail and then served as a director of a medical scientific research center. I thought that was interesting. Before moving to the United States. After experiencing firsthand the devastating results that diabetes can bring to a family, Reginas spends most of her time advocating for a healthier lifestyle and educating her customers about diabetes. And I too have been impacted by that disease in my family. Reginas uses her passion for health and nutrition, her experience in sports, her expertise in food, retail, and cooking to guide and serve her customers, helping them to find their individualized paths to better health. I love that. She is certified in nutrition for heart disease and diabetes. She's an ambassador for the American Diabetes Association, and she is also part of a best-selling book, an Amazon bestseller, Ready to Rise, 62 Ways You and Your Business Can Grow and Thrive in Challenging Times. And a little footnote, I'm in that book with Reginas as well. So welcome, Reginas. I was blown away by your bio and the things that, there are things there I didn't know about you in the 2 years that we've known each other. So very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you, Regina.
So I've invited Reginas to our show today because this show today is on Valentine's Day. And I thought, what a great show to have for Valentine's Day, where someone is helping you understand how you can be a healthier you, or you can help a family member to be healthier. And we know that diabetes has tremendous negative impacts on our society, on our families, uh, truly can take lives, can cause so many challenges in life. And Irina is on a mission to help people with that. So, Irina, would you tell us a little bit about why you're so passionate here, the journey that got you to this place of really a high level of passion for helping people in this arena?
Well, the story is actually pretty simple because, as I said in the bio, I did have experienced the loss, and that was not somebody who I know or my aunt. It was my husband who passed away due to complications from diabetes. And I believe now, when I'm reflecting to the time that we had lived with his diagnosis, it was 13 years. And then after his passing, now that I learned even more, I understand that our situation could be different. I cannot say it will be different, but could be different. Did we know about it more? When he got diagnosed, it was such a shock to everyone in the family. I wouldn't say that it was a shock to me because I already seen in him the certain signs of it, but it was such a shock in the family of his family particularly that people wouldn't even talk and mention the disease. They will say big D.
Big D.
When the big D started. Well, unfortunately, that big D started much earlier before he got diagnosis. It just was confirmation that he has it. And it was such a stigma to agree that I've got it. It was such a resistance from his side that he, the strong man, the man who can do a lot of things, that could push through a lot of challenges, he got that he, I think, resisted to accept that and learn about it.
Would you say that's fairly common?
I think this is very common, and it's I was originally thinking that this is very common between men, but I think the more I work now, the more I see women who are on the same boat. Mm-hmm. They just deny the fact that they got affected by this diagnosis.
Right.
And unfortunately, the way, when our family got this diagnosis, it was 2003. Google wasn't what the Google is right now.
Right.
And because of this, we had to, I had to educate myself from sources that were available to me, but they were quite limited. The internet was giving very little information. It was more business oriented or entertainment oriented, not this rich source of knowledge that we have right now. That was one thing that I didn't have much information from. Of course, books were available, but for that you have to go to the bookstore, to the library, or magazines. Also, there were some magazines and brochures, of course, at doctors' offices. That's where my education came from. A little detail, at that moment, I had 1-year-old and 4-year-old. So that a little bit limited me in time to focus on learning about diabetes. So I really was relying on my husband to learn more on his own. And he was not very much in agreement with that diagnosis for himself. So it was a challenging time. And I in our family, we had those trust relationships. So I trusted him that he is doing his best. And I think that's what he did. At his state of mind, at his
Right.
uh, condition where he was mentally and physically, he did his best. I mean, he was
Right.
trying to exercise, he was trying to eat healthy, but at the same time, there are certain rules with diabetes that I don't even know, either he didn't know about or he completely ignored because he's a strong man and he can overpower those rules.
Exactly.
So with that, we've got this situation that 11 years later, after he got diagnosed, he contracted flu that hit him seasonal flu, regular seasonal
Right.
flu. But because his immune system was compromised, it hit him really well, or really bad, very strongly. And as a result of it, he had complication kidney failure. And after that, it was like a snowball.
Yeah.
And a year and a half later, I had husband no more. Uh, that was not easy on me. It also was not easy on our children.
Right.
And this is when I learned how important it is to take care of your own health.
Right.
Because it's not only about you. It's completely affecting everyone around you.
Yeah.
After his passing, it took for me about 2 years of almost daily walking. And I had a friend who, at that point, luckily to me, lost her job and also was entertaining herself with walking. So we would get together and we would go for a long walk and have a talk. And through this talking, I finally kind of came to peace with myself in the situation where I am. It didn't mean that I immediately started doing something about it, but along with that, I've been also working with a company that called, the motto of this company is, we are a health and wellness company. We are helping people to learn about cooking in a healthier way to preserve maximum of nutrients so the food will become your medicine rather than the poison. So working with that company, learning about food and nutrition and ways of cooking, I understood more and more what is happening around us. And then finally, I met with people who told me, look, how long you are going to hold it? Because what you are doing, working one-on-one with people, teaching them how to cook in a healthier way is one thing, it's onesies.
Right.
You need to get out and start talking to masses. And that's when I started training to become public speaker and talk about health. Talking, hopefully, my initial idea was to talk to businessmen to give them warning, because it's not only about them taking care of everybody. When whatever diagnosis hits, everybody have to take care of them. So their love for everyone kind of goes down to zero and below it, because everyone now focused on them, abandoning their own interests, their own goals and whatever they want to do, because they have to take out of love, they have to take care of their loved one.
Exactly.
So that's where I am right now with this, and now I'm educating people, because I believe that education is the key. Information is the key. If we were more informed, like as a society and our family ourselves, more informed about dangers and possible outcomes, we probably would be acting differently. But we will not.
Take better care of ourselves. I didn't realize the parallels in your story and mine quite so much. So my husband had, back in 2012, he had a minor surgery. And in that minor surgery, his blood pressure dropped too low and his kidneys failed. And then he was on dialysis for 2 years until he passed. So yeah, very, very similar there to your husband getting the flu. Let me ask you a quick question, and then I want to dive into what you have coming up to help people with this, because it's amazing what you are doing this year to help folks. Would you say that there is maybe a sense of personal failure when we get that diagnosis of diabetes, that we've somehow failed to do what we should have done, that we've done things that weren't in our best interest, and that that sense of personal failure can hold us back in terms of getting the help that we need at that point? Is that a fair assessment?
I think so. I think so. We all grow up and hearing from our mom, don't eat this many candy, eat your vegetables, do all this, go exercise,
Right.
go outside and play. And of course, our generation is more affected by that than the young kids who are growing now, because their parents are pretty much our kids who didn't listen to it. So with that, it's a little bit shifted, but in reality, we all, I mean, I don't believe there is a single totally clueless person who does not know that you got to move, you got to do some physical activity, whatever it is, walking, dancing, raking the leaves, whatever, walk the dog, that we need to drink more water and less soft drinks, juices, and all that, right?
Right.
We all know it. We've heard it from the very early age. We know that we need to eat more vegetables, but we are not necessarily doing it. Sometimes due to the fact that the way how they cook, they really do not taste well, but one way or another, raw vegetables are still existing before they got cooked.
Exactly.
Fruits, the same thing. And because we have this initial knowledge, not very detailed, but we have it. And when we eventually get this diagnosis, somewhere in the back of our mind, we know that we didn't do all of it or any of it.
Right.
And therefore, it's my fault. Of course, unfortunately, we have this situation when the TV and internet and everywhere commercials, there is an industry that is working on promoting stuff so people will buy. Right. And that stuff, not necessarily healthy, but that stuff brings you back to buy more of that stuff.
Right.
And people who do not have solid information, who do not have this enough information to understand what they're actually buying, what they're actually putting in their mouth, they are buying this bright, colorful, good smelling and tasty stuff without really analyzing what they're doing to themselves.
I remember years ago, one of the first food commercials was for a particular brand of potato chips. And the line was, I bet you can't eat just one. You know, you're going to come back for more and more and more. And we do. We eat with our eyes. We don't eat with our heads sometimes.
We have all the devices here, the smell, the look, the taste, the sound, those crunchiness and all this. Yes. All the devices are here, just the center, the control center is not set for the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, Adina, let's dive into what you have coming up. And this is, folks, why I wanted Adina to be here today for this show on Valentine's Day, all about love and heart. Adina, you are doing some health fairs this year.
Yes.
Tell us about the health fairs.
Well, the health fairs that it started a year ago, actually almost exactly a year ago. On January 30th or 31st of 2021, I launched the program, my course to help people to get educated and situated and set their minds.
Right.
A program called Diabetes 101 for Beginners. And the challenge was to get the word out that this program is available. I can help people. I can help you. So in order to support this program, I started the Facebook group called Diabetes 101 for Beginners. And that group started a little bit slow, but how you call it slow for the totally new group to gain about 70 of my friends signed up for this group to support me. Thank you, everyone who did that.
Right. And drum roll, we now have...
Exactly. Well, hold on. And then about 2-3 weeks later, I noticed that not only my friends, it was like, wow, somebody else, some total strangers started signing up for the group. That was a surprise to me back then. Now, drum roll.
Drum roll.
I have 39.1 thousand people, members of this group.
Yeah.
Without any advertising or anything. This is the group that grew in 1 year to this number of members just being there, because we have their information that people can use.
Right.
And of course, original plan for me was to help people with those courses, to offer them this information so they could start making changes in their lives. But now I realize that 39,000 people, this is quite a number. I cannot offer them help. So I need help. And that's where the health fair idea came from, because this is where I can invite people, experts, doctors, specialists who are really working every day with people who have this diagnosis, and they can share information that they have, so people don't have to sign up for the appointment and wait for 2.5 months until they finally get to the doctor's office, because doctors are overwhelmed and they're short-staffed and they don't have that much time to meet with everyone. And then when they meet with everyone, to talk to them about this diagnosis and what it means for these people.
Truly educate them. Yeah.
So that's what we're doing now. The first health fair we had in January, and the next one will be in March.
Awesome. So folks, there's going to be a combination of doctors and other health professionals or consultants or coaches in the health industry that will create panels. Is that correct, Irina?
Yes, roundtable.
And roundtable discussions about this. And so, yeah, I love this program that you've put together. And so if you're listening to us today and you know, or watching this show and you know you yourself are in that arena, or you know someone that would be a good fit, we'll want you to be sure to reach out to Irina so she can visit with them about perhaps being a part of these roundtable discussions and these health fairs where people can learn more about how to take care of themselves. You know,
or join us as people who need to learn from those doctors and those experts. So one way or another.
Yeah. And then, Irina, we mentioned your Facebook group. Tell us again the name of that Facebook group. And it's a free group, folks, on Facebook, so you can join anytime. And there's so much valuable information in there. So, Irina, what's the name of the group again?
The group called Diabetes 101 for Beginners. Just the name of my course. The same thing. Diabetes 101 for Beginners. And it's really what it is. The main purpose for this group is to give newly diagnosed people some rope that they could hold on, so they will not, go through the cracks and feel alone and don't know what to do. So every day I see there, and people are very active. It's a public group. As you mentioned, it's free, of course, and it's not even very strongly guarded. Myself and my moderator, we are really working hard to keep this group free from spammers, free from people who are trying to take advantage of people who have this health issue, health challenge. But we have visitors coming in, they watch what we have, they follow the group for a little while, and then they become members because they also would like to participate in discussions. There are discussions going all the time, and the main thing is to make sure that people know that they're not alone. They're not the only one who have this problem, because there is a lot of flavors of the problem, and somebody has one thing and another person has another thing. There is always one more person at least who had experienced that, and they sharing their how they overcome it or what helped or anything like this. Or at least if they too have the same question, they could kind of work together and try different things and see what works for one or another. So that's the purpose for the group.
Very good. I've noticed as I've looked through the comments within the group, I've noticed, that people either pose a question and then several people will give their answer, or somebody will post something that's valuable information. And so it looks like there's a lot of value in that group.
Yes,
awesome.
Yes, I'm very proud of my members, because I was surprised how active they are. Right. And this is great. They come there when they have challenges. They also come there when they have wins, and they just want to share, to encourage. That's what they say, a lot of them. I joined this group this many months ago, thanks to the information that I found here and support from the group. I was able to put myself together to change this and that in my life. And now I am, my blood work is perfect. I changed the way how I live and this and that. So I'm not going to doctor every time, but I'm coming to this group to support and encourage the new ones who did not have, this before. But now I am as an example to show them that this is possible. I don't use anything, special magic or whatever. It was the work, but the work gave the results.
Right. And in 1 year, you've grown that group has grown to 39,000 people looking for help, looking to each other for answers, looking to you and to each other for answers. I love it. Yeah. And folks, that when someone is newly diagnosed with diabetes, there's so much that they don't know. And that's what this group is all about. And that's what this health fair is all about. So, Irina, would you share with us the information about the upcoming health fair, what the dates are for the one that's coming up next month, right?
In March, yes. In March. On March 22nd, it's Saturday. We start at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and we will go through 4 p.m. Eastern time. We will have 4 panels. We will have a break. I'm talking with the cooking coach. She was doing last time in the first fair during the lunch break. It was how it's called, eat and learn, how it is, dine and learn.
Lunch and learn.
Lunch and learn. That's lunch and learn, sort of, because she was talking about the way how easy it is to cook healthy meals that will support you and will help you to carry on, and also varieties. And she gave us her story. So this was an educational lunch, and I hope that she will be able to come back and give us a little bit more information and share another recipe or two. And but 4 sessions that we have, they consist of roundtable discussion where doctors and experts in different fields, like nutritionists and personal trainers and life coaches and different other experts who work with people who have diabetes, they discuss it's not a discussion. I pick the questions that most often are being asked in a Facebook group, with this number of
so it's a
participants. Q&A. Yes, and they all have a chance to give their perspective to this question. Awesome. Obviously, the doctor who is working with your feet will have different perspective than the doctor who has the work with your eyes.
Right.
But they both and many others are working with people with diabetes, and it all really boils down to the same thing. You got to take care of yourself.
Right.
Which includes, remember what your mom said, eat your vegetables, drink less soda and more water, eat less candy, exercise, go to bed in time. All this
The
out of love,
basics.
out of love.
Out
Your
of
mom was
love.
telling you, and now these doctors are telling you, and everybody else is telling you,
Yeah.
with examples of how you can do it, what may happen if you didn't do it, and how
Right.
you can get out of the situation where you found yourself now.
Excellent. And it's all online, correct?
Yes, it's virtual health fair. It's online,
Okay.
it's free to join. And in my Facebook group, this Diabetes 101 for Beginners, right now I didn't post it yet, but the information about
You'll
it
be
will
in
be
there.
on a calendar in
Excellent.
events tab, I guess.
Yeah.
And closer to the event, I will be posting more information about it, just to remind
Great.
people, plus to inform new people. Every day we have
Great.
about 150 new people joining, so
Wow.
they need to know about it. If I
Yeah.
posted it 2
Yes.
days ago, they will not know it.
Right. So, folks, if you or someone you know has been impacted by diabetes, and you're a little unsure of how to move forward, what you need to do to take care of yourself or to help them take care of themselves, go look at the group, the Facebook group, Diabetes 101 for Beginners. Is that
Correct.
correct? Did I say that right? And join the group. It's free to join. And you know it's a public group. It's not a private group. It's a public group. Anybody can join and check it out. And the information will be there for this upcoming health fair. And Adina will be posting more about that as it rolls forward. So Adina, that I love the work that you're doing. As you say, you and I have both been impacted by this disease, and you know we could go out to other people in our lives as well that have been impacted by this disease. People we love, and so you know this is a labor of love for Adina. She doesn't want people to go through what she went through, what her
Yes.
husband went through. And I feel the same way. And that's why we decided this was the best show we could do for Valentine's Day. It's all about love, not the romantic love, but love, genuine, from the bottom of your heart, love for those in your life. So, Arena, thank you so much for being with me today and sharing this. And we certainly want to be there to support you as much as we can in this. It's a very worthy endeavor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Regina, for having me. Thank you. Appreciate
All
it very
right.
much.
All right, folks, we will see you on the next show of Pursuing Profit with Principles. Bye for now.
Well, happy Monday to you. And this Monday, it is Valentine's Day. I want to say hello, hello. Happy Valentine's Day from America's Supermom. I am really excited about this day. Now, it's so funny because with being a mom of 15 children, a lot of people think, oh, you and your husband definitely probably celebrate Valentine's Day, but really, a fun fact is that we don't celebrate it. However, Valentine's Day is really a good day to really check in with yourself about love and how you're loving yourself and you're loving your business. Okay, this is really a great topic, and it's also a really high volume retail day for many business owners, depending on if you're a florist, if you're a chocolatier, restaurant owner, hotel. Owner, a lot of these places are really jam packed on this special day. So, today we're going to be talking about loving you and your business, okay? And how we can do it strategically this Valentine's Day. So, we're going to get into this topic, but before we do, I want to give you a visual of how you can think about incorporating loving your clients and your business. So, many of you may not be familiar with some of the things that I have been teaching. And, as we get into this series here with mindset and marketing through this platform, the Diamond Factor Experience, you'll find out a little bit more about me. But my journey started with what I do now as a lifestyle designer with my own story. Struggled with depression, 3 hospitalizations, and that depression didn't just last a week or 2 weeks, a month. It was a 13-year cycle for me. And so that is really the catalyst for why I am so passionate about mental wellness and really sharing my strategies and insights with other moms on ways that they can really not just survive, but to thrive in whatever that they choose to do. So, the first thing is thinking about with a holiday such as Valentine's Day, how can you upsell, incorporate a little love in your business for your clients? And it's simply a gift with purchase. So, I call this Loving Your Business and You special. And so, this has a clay mask and it has a copy of my book. Now, my book, this is a collaboration. My chapter is called My Life Mask Free. So it was about me removing the mask that I struggled with when it comes to dealing with depression and that whole 13-year cycle. And so I thought it would be really appropriate to add a face mask for beauty, right? So, a way that we can look at masks today as something that's positive rather than negative, and how it can enhance us and make us even more beautiful, right? And improve our skin and things of that nature. So, this is a special promo that I have available for today, as long as supplies last. So you can get a copy of my book and you can get a face mask. So it's a beauty and brains type of edition. And this collaborative book is just phenomenal. It is um, a collaboration with women who have written inspiring stories all over the globe. I'm the only contributor from the United States, so it's a great opportunity to kind of hear the inspirational stories of how other women have walked through the fire, so to speak, and are still a work in progress on this journey. So that is what I have available. So if you want to get a copy of that while supplies last, just send me a message or put it in the comments, and I'll be sure to get you a copy. All right, so I have some slides, and we're going to be talking about loving you and your business. All right. So the first thing is about loving you is knowing who you are, right? When I was dealing with depression and anxiety and all these different things, I really had lost my identity. I was busy people pleasing. I was doing things for other people. I was really not taking care of myself. And I really felt intimidated about really being valuable. I felt the only way that I could have value was to do things for others. And I really didn't take that time to check in with myself. So, first thing is knowing who you are. So, simply really diving into what it is that you're passionate about. Who are you? What is your purpose? What do you just really love doing, right? Really getting key on that, because when we are confident about who we are, our message, and what we're here to do, we really don't get, really frazzled or distracted with what other people are doing, right? So if I say my name is LaChelle and someone else says their name is Nancy, I don't have to get intimidated because Nancy knows her name. If my name is LaChelle, right? We have different names, we say them differently, or whatever the case may be. But that's the way we should look at our identity, as to just simply saying our name or describing what color eyes we have, or different things like that. It just should be who we are. All right. So I'm the mother of 15 children. I'm a lifestyle designer, which is really a coach who works with moms to help them design the life they want. A lot of times, as a mom, we just go on autopilot. We're doing everything for our kids and we put our life on hold, and we think we can pick it up as if time is standing still when our kids grow up and move out of the house. Well, I'm helping women to understand that they can blend their goals and dreams with their current life, and they can have it all at one time. I'm a podcast host, a TV producer, author, keynote speaker, right? So these are just some things that really define who I am, how you can connect with me, and things of that nature. So the next thing is understanding, when it comes to loving you, boundaries. All right. So boundaries really can be summarized as the limits that we set for other people, right? And what we determine to be acceptable and unacceptable in their behavior towards us. So if I want to go to school and I want to make straight A's, I'm just using this as an example, I am going to have to set boundaries or limits on other people and my time in order for me to accomplish that goal. So a lot of people kind of forget that when it comes to your goals and the things that you want to do, they're not commonplace for other people, right? And they may not even be the same than other people's goals. So it's up to us to enforce the idea of how we're going to strategically set up things for us to accomplish the goals that we desire. Okay. And so we have to begin to put those boundaries up, because it's not someone else's responsibility to enforce, us doing what we want to do, unless we pay them or we ask them to be accountability partner or they're a mentor or something of that nature. But it's just not going to be everyday situation that people are going to look out for our goals and aspirations. That's a boundary that we should set up for ourselves, so that we can make sure that we have this insulation around our dreams and goals, regardless of what's happening outside of who we are and what it is that we're trying to do. Okay, so there's 3 areas that I just kind of want to tackle a little bit when we're talking about boundaries. And there are so many more, but we can just get into these 3. So the first thing is like your time. Most people, the ideal time to sleep is 8 hours. So when you subtract 8 hours out of a 24-hour day, you're left with 16 hours. And 16 hours to work daily to accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish is really not a lot of time when you start adding in responsibilities and other things that you're doing. So in my case, If you just saw in the slide before, all the different things that I do, and I have to divide that up into a 16-hour day. So I am a mother, okay, of not just one child, but 15, and we still have 10 of them that live at home. Then I have my business, being a podcaster, TV producer. So there's certain tasks that are associated with that. I'm also married, right? I've been married for 29 years. So being a wife and understanding the responsibilities when it comes to that. Then in addition to that is my personal care. I'm currently doing a challenge called 75 Hard. And so that has 5 components that I have to do every day. And so that's another aspect of taking time for me. And then it is really, when it comes to business and coaching, that's another aspect. So trying to manage all these things in a 16-hour window is very, very important for me to manage my time with that. And so that is where the boundaries come, setting up specific times that work for you and you're accomplishing your goals. So if you have 3 things that you want to do, for example, then it's up to you to figure out what is the best way for you to achieve those 3 goals and objectives every day. And so this is where you begin to decide, okay, if I want to work out, I need to work out before 10 o'clock, right? Because after 10 o'clock, with all the other things I have going on with meetings or whatever, I'm not going to have time to do my workout. So you set a boundary. There's not going to be anything that's not related to business before 10 a.m. so that I can get my workout in, right? So hopefully that is a good illustration to kind of help you to understand how your time, no one knows your time better than you. And we don't know anything about your time unless you tell us about your time. So it's up to us to enforce, hey, I have another appointment. They don't need to know that it's you working out or something of that nature. The next thing is safety. So one of the things that really got me to the edge when it came to my hospitalizations and dealing with my cycle of depression was that I was not looking out for my own safety. I was overwhelmed, just doing things on autopilot and not really engaged with a lot of the damage that was being done. A lot of times I wasn't even getting a full night's sleep. And this was a pattern that was so much of a routine. I just thought it was a normal life for a lot of moms, and who really could understand the major things that I dealt with being a mom who was not just a stay-home mom, but a mom that nursed her kids on top of that. So in the middle of the night, I'm getting up and nursing the baby and things of that nature. And so these are the things that we really have to think about, is our own safety and instilling these boundaries so that we can be successful in keeping ourselves in good optimal health in order for us to perform at our highest potential. And then the next thing is priorities. So there, just as I mentioned in the example earlier about the priorities, doing things at a certain time, right? Understanding that if I don't prioritize my workout by a certain time, I can't delegate that to somebody else and expect them to do it, right? So we have to determine what are our priorities or non-negotiables, right? If you don't have time in your day for working out, how is that going to affect you at the end of your day? How is that going to affect you tomorrow? How is that going to affect you in your goal that you're accomplishing, right? So these are the things that we have to be mindful of when it comes to understanding the things that we are doing in order to serve and to be better versions of ourselves. So with the boundaries, sometimes people have the hurdle of their mindset, right? We have the power to change our life. So we have to understand that coming from a place of love for ourselves, it really encompasses our mindset. How are we thinking about the things that we're doing? So mindset, there's so many things that can go into mindset. That could be a master class alone. And I think still it's constantly a work in progress. I was just wrapping up a book that I read recently called Switching on Your Brain, The Key to Peak Happiness, Thinking and Health, I believe is the um, co-title. But it talked about the power that we have to uh, have certain behavior based on how we're thinking and how we choose to think, how we can have power alongside our subconscious mind that can help us to have the outcomes that we desire. However, it takes work, right? Because a lot of the things that we are coming up against are the limiting beliefs. They're the things that have been on autopilot playing in our head for years, right? They have created these mindsets that sometimes can be generational. Your mom might have thought a certain way and her mom did, and it just gets passed down without us even being aware. So when we're thinking about mindset really can incorporate so many things, but we're going to think about three different things that are important when we think about our mindset. The first thing are your thoughts. So as someone who has recovered over depression, the thoughts about, you know, things really being negative and they just being replayed over and over again. So I was raised as an only child with a very strong emphasis on education. So with that being the total thing that I really remember my mom focusing on, and I'm sure it was a number of other things, but education was something that was a non-negotiable. That was that priority that she had for me. And so growing up, I always was a high performer all the way through accomplishing a college degree. However, the things that I was good at, right, seeking that validation and getting that reward for that work, when it came to being a mom and having a family, I didn't receive that same attention every day, right? So I didn't receive that same success rate. So when I was in school, all through my academic career, all the way through a college degree, if I set my mind out for a particular academic goal, I usually accomplished it, whether it was getting a paper completed or, turning in a project and all these different things. I could see a start, I could see an end, and I could see a reward for the work that I did. So fast forward, it comes to being a mom and being a parent and having this to-do list, right? So going back to the academic example, I recognized that I was responsible for my own success or failure. So I attached a lot of value to being able to have what I want if I work for it. Then we come over to being a mom, being a spouse, being, um, a contributor to the community and all these different things and all these different relationships. So you have a list that continues to grow where you're not just accountable for yourself, but you're accountable for other people, for relationships and things of that nature. So here we go with the same expectations. However, my environment has changed. So I am still holding myself to that same accountability of thinking that I could do it all with all these other responsibilities. So I would have a list of things to do. Let's say we have 15 things. Now, if you're just responsible for yourself, 15 may not seem like a lot because you don't have anybody else to be responsible for. But you take that 15 and then you've got 15 people, for example, in addition to a spouse and some of the other responsibilities. That list is just impossible just alone. Why would you put the same uh, why would you put the same pressure on yourself when you see all the variables have changed? but I wasn't smart enough to figure that out, right? And so these are the things that we learn over time. So while some things were being successfully done on that checklist, right? Kids were making it to school on time. Kids had their lunches. They were making good grades and things of that nature. However, then I had this list of my own personal things. And then I had the list of other things with being a spouse and then household and all these different things. So if not everything was checked off, I was calling myself a failure. This is what I may not have been verbalizing, but this is how I felt because I went from knocking it out of the park in everything that I did related to my academic goal to over here falling up short every day. So on the outside, there was a mask that was planted on my face, so to speak. We'll just say, theoretically, that everything was fine, everything was perfect in the world, right? Smiling amongst myself, telling myself that I was a failure because I was not accomplishing all the things that I set out to do on a daily basis. So the first thing is your thoughts, right? If you're starting off the day where it's negative and you're like, man, is this going to be another day that I'm not going to accomplish everything on my list? That's not a good way to be. That's not something that you may be able to bounce back from because of the fact that you have to understand that life happens. Okay. And so the more you go through life and experience it, you can learn that thoughts really can determine your behavior. And that behavior can really set you up for success or it could set you up for failure. Because if I'm thinking that I can't accomplish things, it's going to minimize my ability to dream, to really have hope, to be positive, to do all these other things. So our thoughts are important and we can control them. So we really need to ask ourselves the question, is this a positive or negative thought? And if it's not positive, how can we change it? The next thing is our environment. So I mentioned in one illustration with me being a high achiever, the only person in that environment that I really had to be responsible for was myself. Back over here with the family and all the different dynamics of, their change of life and how they're growing and developing, that environment is changing. So we need to think about, is it a healthy or is it a toxic environment? Now, we can talk about the people that are in our physical proximity, but we could also talk about the music that we're listening to, the TV shows that we watch, the radio, right, in the car, like podcasting, or the books that we're reading, and the news, right, that we choose or not choose to listen to. So really beginning to take hold of the mindset can be impacted by our environment. We may not even be thinking about a particular thing, but because we're in an environment where we see it, right? We may not even have fear, but if we're around a fear-based environment, that can promote that feeling in our lives. And then the last thing is our behavior. Is our behavior in alignment with what we're believing, right? So, and what we're saying about ourselves. So one of the things that really had me living my life behind a mask was that my speech was one way, but my belief was another way. So even though I was talking about the great things that were happening in my kids' life or certain things that I was choosing to focus on in the conversation, I had to realize that my belief was not in alignment with the things that I was saying. This is what had me living life behind a mask. Okay, so we have to make sure that we're lining up our speech and our belief, and that will determine our behavior. So this is just loving yourself with your mindset and taking the time to recognize that you have the power to change that at any time. And then when it comes to our mindset, we want to think about, how is this mindset fostering certain beliefs? We need to think about what questions we should be asking ourselves. So when it comes to our thoughts and environment or behavior, boundaries, we need to really begin to start asking some hard questions for ourselves so we can take action and move forward. So one of the things is, does this serve me? How can I improve the outcome? How can I duplicate the outcome if it is positive? What can I learn, or what did I learn? How can I save time? Who can help me with what I need? So these are just a few questions that we can begin to ask ourselves rather than start telling statements to ourselves. So if you, for example, have a checklist of 10 things, right, that you haven't accomplished, maybe you can ask yourself, who can help me so that tomorrow, if I do in fact have to do 10 things, how can I accomplish this? How can I change my day around so that I can be more effective? But most people, if they didn't get 10 things done, you're a failure. Why did you put 10 things on your list? You knew you couldn't do it. You're just constantly in this cycle. Do you see what I'm saying? But if you begin to say, okay, 10 things, didn't get them done, how can I work smarter tomorrow? What are some things that I could do today preparing for these 10 things? Do I need to lay out my clothes in order to be at work on time if that's one of the things on the list? So just using that time to begin to ask questions rather than telling yourself statements. So if you start telling yourself things instead of asking yourself things, the whole mindset shifts right there, right? Because if you're telling something, it's like it's factual. It is not up for debate. But when you ask questions, how can I do this better? Why was I demotivated? You begin to explore and figure out how you can do things differently in a positive way. So, how can we implement love in our daily routine? And I think we can come up with all these philosophies 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. But for me, I like to break it down to the day. What are some things that we can do every day that can help us to be strategic about massive success long term? So, one of the things is coaching, finding somebody such as myself that you feel, man, I need to get some strategies together. I don't want to be on autopilot. I don't want to just exist. I want to be able to thrive. I want to be able to create an impact. I want to be intentional. That's one of the things that you can do when you have a coach, because they help you to strategize the best way to play the game of life. You think about a basketball game, or in this case, football, since we just recently celebrated the Super Bowl. You know, this coach is designed to help you perform at your optimal level of success, right? Peak performance. And so a coach can help you do that. They're not in the game to play themselves, right? You've never seen a coach out on the field running the ball, running the play, but they are designed to help you with the pros and cons, the things that you're having struggles with. So they help you work on them. Self-development, reading, and really doing that inner dialogue. Where am I falling short? How can I do better? You know, and really seeking the answers for yourself. Exercise and nutrition, right, is really good. Journaling, thinking about how you can really reflect in a way that matters so that you are strategic about implementing a different plan. A lot of times, if we think it, we write it down, we visualize it, this really creates an imprinting that goes deeper into the subconscious rather than just having a conscious thought about, I need to do better. Because usually we only focus on the things that are top of mind or in our face visually. So you have to visually put things around you so that they can go into your subconscious. So that is pretty much all we have for today. If you want a copy of today's slides, I think it's really important for us to think about loving ourselves and really being able to share that message with other people. So if you feel like, hey, this is something I can share with my kids or I can share with my friends, right? You want a copy of the slides, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to share. And then the last thing is ways to connect, right? And this is kind of small, but it is what it is. But there's several different ways that you can connect with me. I am all about networking. And one of the clubs that I have is the Elephant Strategy Club. That's in a Facebook group. It's in a LinkedIn group. And then I'm also on Clubhouse with the Elephant Strategy Club. So I would love to connect with you there. I have a podcast if you're interested in being a guest and sharing your insights with the world and my audience. And I also have books and coaching. And just like I said, I have the Loving Your Business and You package that's available while supplies last. So feel free to reach out to me if this is something that you're interested in. So I want to conclude and wish you all a wonderful, wonderful Valentine's Day. And may you just have everything that you desire, and remember to love you and to love your business. So that is all that I have for this week's segment, but I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.